Hello, and welcome to another episode of Garry's Mod server reviews, and today I shall be reviewing a community called Fearless, who run a game mode called CityRP. This game mode was made by them, meaning that it is unique for Garry's Mod. They have two servers that hold the same game mode but on different maps, so they both run it on different versions of Evocity, which you can find if you look up Evocity on garrysmod.org. So first off, I had a look on their website to see how organised they were. Upon joining, I could easily tell that their website was really well laid out in the way that they separated the different sections and gave you links to everything you needed. For example, at the top of this website, there are links to the rules, guides, and even a wiki that shows you everything you need to know about the servers. For example, the guides show the different individual rules for each class on the server, as well as rules for players to follow when playing on the server. Scrolling down a bit, you can see each section is divided into appropriate areas. For example, anything you need to do with bans and admin reports are at the bottom, random discussions are near the top, and server discussions are in the middle. So it's all very well laid out to help the player find what they're looking for. Next, I looked at the help and support section to see how helpful this community is, and I took a look at some of the threads. One sticky thread contained all the content you required for the servers in order to fully play them, like the map and the models. This was very helpful as it was an easy way to find everything you needed for both their roleplay servers, and it was much quicker than downloading it from the server directly, as sometimes Garry's Mod can slow down your download speed even if it is faster than it's downloading. So the website overall was very informative and well laid out, which made it really simple to navigate. Next, I joined the server, which showed you a list of things that you'd be expected to read so that you can find anything you need. For example, it shows what you should do in the server and what you shouldn't do. It also advises you to check the rules so that you don't accidentally break them. It's clear that this community cares about its players understanding the rules and filtering the people who don't understand the rules and the trolls apart. But whilst joining, there was some music which was nice to listen to, as my internet speed can often mean long waits for content. But if you have a slow internet speed, I recommend downloading the content for the server off their website, and is most likely quicker than downloading it through Garry's Mod. But I like how on the right there are two bits of information that change every time you join. The first one is Did You Know, which shows a few things that you may not have known for the server. For example, one showed me how to go into third person, which is usually disabled on a multiplayer server as it requires cheats to be enabled. Below that there are the statistics that show you how long you've been on the server. It shows your character name, the amount of money you have, and how long you've actually been on the server. So it's pretty interesting in the way that they have customized their joining screen to be unique rather than the usual Garry's Mod logo. So after downloading the content, I finally joined the server to a menu I will show in a short clip. It includes the rules for the server, different classes your character can be, donation methods, credits, things to buy with your in-game money, and much, much more. I also noticed that their server is populated throughout the entire day, with one of their servers peaking at almost full population all day, every day. This means whatever your time zone, you shouldn't have to worry about finding the right time to play. There will always be players on the server. I looked deep into the game mode as it's custom and found that it's actually a heavily modified Cider script by the looks of it. The base was made by Kuromeku, the same creator of Cider 1, Cider 2 and the Open Aura framework. So rather than making the game mode completely themselves, they renamed Cider and modified it heavily. But regardless, it is still a very well made game mode, and they've really paid attention to the little details and given players tons of things to do. There are a large selection of classes for you to choose from, each having their own benefits and different wages. For example, you can be a cab driver who can buy their own cab to take people around the city for a fee. However, I felt that petrol on cabbies ran down way too quickly, as I had to refuel every trip I made. But that's just a minor detail, and didn't affect my thoughts on the game mode itself. What I did like though was the president's ability to set taxes on wages, so a percentage of your wage would go away as tax every so often. For example, as a cab driver, I'd usually get $30 for salary or something like that for every few minutes. But if the tax was high, oftenly it would mean that $10 of that would be taken away from the government. So this was decided by the president, which gave him many more things to do rather than just give out broadcasts. So overall, I thought that the game mode was really well coded and gave the players a ton of things to do to ensure that they'd never be bored. Moving on to the player base of this community, it appears that they are generally really friendly to new players. Some help you if you have a question, while a couple may not respond. I remember the first time I joined the server, it took a couple of attempts for somebody to answer my question, but I don't look this as the community being unfriendly, as I'm sure they're busy role-playing. But to get the best feel for the friendliness of this community, I looked at the introduction threads on their forums. It was clear that they make new players feel welcome into their community, and also make sure they're clear on anything they may not understand. However, it's usually expected of a community to welcome their new players, as I doubt any community will want to send away its new players. So to get a better feel for the community, I looked around on the servers to see how their players reacted to newer players. It seemed like they were friendly enough for you to enjoy yourself. For example, you weren't being ridiculed for not understanding things about the game mode. So the overall friendliness of the players in this community is generally good, as they will welcome you into their community with wide arms. But next I paid attention to the administration, as this can be very important for keeping rule breakers at bay and keeping the enjoyment of the players going. As there were usually a couple of admins on at any one time, so there wasn't just one admin watching over the entire server, or there wasn't any admins at all. So they were quite helpful with my questions that I had, such as owning the entirety of a hotel and renting out the rooms to players. Although it did take a little while to get a reply from them, which I can understand being in a server of 50 players, but I did get an informative answer which helped me continue my roleplay. At one point, a player was spamming music through his microphones throughout the streets that really hurt your ears and disrupted the roleplay, but it didn't take long for an administrator to deal with it and let the roleplay continue to flow. So overall, the administration on this server is very well organised and skilled to stop any rule breakers soon after they've broken the rules. This helps the roleplay going in the server and keep the enjoyment going for all of the players in the server. Overall, I thought this was a great community from looking at their CityRP servers, and would definitely recommend it to anyone who likes roleplay, but not in the strictest manner possible. Because of this, I'm rating this community 9 out of 10 for its responsive administrators, excellent game mode, and consistently high population counts. Thank you for watching, and if you have a server that you'd like me to review, then please send me a message and I'll get onto that quickly.